Welcome back. This is Dan Havey with CF Ninja Hacks, and in this video we're going to answer Susan's question where she had a client who drew her this little doodle of what he wanted his order form to look like, and she wanted to know mostly how to be able to pull these side columns underneath the one in the middle and make this one stand proud. And then I also saw that they had the 3D effect around it, and so I decided to build that in as well. So this is what I put together real quickly, and I think it's pretty much what she was looking for. And obviously you can change a lot of the effects on here. You can obviously make this look a lot prettier, and once you put it into your site, it's going to pop out a little bit more too, because you'll probably have some sort of background and coloring and whatnot in here. So let's just take a look at how we can go in and build this same thing all over again. So let's just go in, and we're just going to add a new section up here at the top. We're just going to drop that in. And I'm not going to go through absolutely everything I did, but I'll just show you the highlights of the things that are going to trip you up as you go along. And I'm just doing this here to bring it down from the top a little bit, just to give us a little bit of room to work. And now I'm going to put in a 3-column row. We'll drop that right in, and we're going to have our 3 columns. Now, first thing we're going to do is we're just going to put in a little bit of text, and we'll just put in a subheadline element. And what I'm going to do is just clone this a couple times, and we'll bring this over here just so we see what we're looking at as we're going along. And then also let's just put in a bullet list, and below that let's just put in a button, just so you see what we're looking at. And now we're going to do the same thing, clone this a couple times. Okay, so now we have 3 columns here. Now let's go into each individual column and start working on making it stand out a little bit. So we'll go into the first column. And first thing I want to do is I just want to come in, and we're going to do a 40% inner shadow. And now I see, we need a bunch of space here at the top and the bottom. So let's go back into the settings, and let's, the columns thing has been really wonky lately. So if you come in here and it says it's a top padding of 100, it's not. So let's just pull it back down, and let's just say 30 top, we'll go 30 bottom, and then let's just say, well, let's just go 30, 30, 30, and 30. Let's do that. Okay, so now on the center column, let's come in and we will do the same thing. Do we really have a top margin of 100? No. So that's why I said these columns are really messed up lately. But let's put in a top margin of minus 50 to be able to pull that up towards the top. And we'll just do 30, 30, and 30 again. And you just do that by pulling on the little slide bar, just move it back and forth until it goes to where it's really supposed to be. And then let's just say we want to put in here, we're going to do a drop shadow instead of the inner shadow. And then we're going to make column 3 look exactly like we did for column 1. And so again here, for some reason it dropped me into advanced. Like I said, it's really been wonky lately. And I think they're working on it, I would suspect. Like here, it's showing minus 50 on the top margin. Well, it's not. It's really at 0. And so we will do all of these. And okay, so now we got our 3 columns. One we have a little taller than the other, which will highlight it. And in fact, just to do one more thing, we'll just clone this out. So now it's going to be taller like in our original down here. Okay, so now how do we get one column to move over? And basically we want this column kind of under this one and this one kind of under this one. So the first thing we have to do is we have to come in and get the CSS ID selector for this column. So we're going to click on the columns. We're going to come down to column 1. And again here, depending on how this works, it could be completely blank at this point, and you just have to drill down or scroll down until the point that, and see, now it's not going to do it, is it? See, now it's not going to give me the whole thing. Let's try coming down here to column 2. All right, it's not going to give me what I want. So what we're going to do is we are going to just come over here. Nah, actually, I'm going to show you how to do it the right way. I don't want to show you how to do it the wrong way. So we're going to come in and we're going to preview this page. And what I'm saying is right way or wrong way is we're going to come in and we're going to inspect this element. But it's very dangerous to get into the developer tool inside of the editor itself, because any changes you make inside of the editor will stay. If you click on save, it will save those into the editor. And then later on, you could come in and you're going, I don't know why this is purple. And the reason why is because you saved it into the editor and it's not in ClickFunnels anywhere to be found. So you're much better off anytime you're going to go in and inspect an element to do it inside of the preview window or inside of the actual page itself. So here we are in the column. We wanted the column inner. So what we need to do is, let's just try this trick first. We'll come here, copy the selector, and we'll see what that gives us. Let's come in here, custom CSS. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put in a bunch of blank lines, and we're going to put this in. So now this did not give us what we wanted. It did give us the CSS ID selector for the element above this or outside of this, but it didn't give us the col inner. So let's just copy out the col inner part here. We'll copy that and we will replace the div with that. Now the div technically will work, but we generally like to use the actual class itself instead of using just the div. So here we are in column number 1. And what we want to do is we want to move this over this direction 50 pixels. So we're going to come in and we're going to come into our, this not the tracking code, we need to come into our custom CSS. And we are going to say margin right of minus 50 pixels. Because in theory, what that's going to do is it's going to pull our column that we want 50 pixels to the right. Well, once I do this, you're going to see that's not what happened. What happened was it actually made this column wider. It didn't pull this over. It didn't pull this over. It just made the column wider. So what we have to do is go back into our CSS and we have to tell it that we want a margin left then of 50 pixels. So what that does is it moves the right margin, it removes the right side over 50 pixels this way, negative, and then it creates another 50 pixels on the left side, effectively moving the entire block to the right. Now same thing over here on the right hand side, we want to move this to the left. So what we need to do is we're going to come back in, we're going to come down a little bit, we're going to find what we're looking for, which is really this element right here. We are going to copy that. We're going to come back into our CSS. We're going to put it there. We're going to start off with a hashtag, and we're going to paste in what we had. We're going to type in col inner, put in a left curly bracket, 2 carriage returns, a right curly bracket. Now in this case here, we don't need it to go 50 pixels because you saw I had that big border around the side of everything, so we're only going to do 30 pixels this time. And so again, what we're looking at is we want to move this to the left 30 pixels. So in order to do that, we'll put in a negative left 30, but as we do that, it's going to do the same thing. It's just going to make this box wider, so then we have to put some more padding or some more margin on this side to move it over. So we're going to come into our custom CSS. We are going to say we want our margin left of minus 30 pixels. Let's take a look at that. So you just made it wider, and then we'll go back into the custom CSS, and we're going to do a margin right of another 30 pixels, and always make sure you put your semicolon at the end. I didn't do that up there. Let's put it in. And so now we have these two boxes both pulled underneath this box. Now, one thing I forgot to do when we were in the columns is let's go into the columns and let's make a solid color for the background. Right now they are transparent, so we will make them each a solid color. Let's see if I can just scroll down here and see if this will work. Okay, column 2. And column 3. All right, so now we have 3 white backgrounds. And when I did it earlier, I thought I had to put in a z-index to make this stand out, but apparently I don't. So, okay, well, we can skip that step. Let's go back into our custom CSS, because right down here I had this set. And so let's just see. Let's take this out. We'll comment it out by putting in slash and a star, and let's see how that affected. Yeah, I do need to do that because obviously you can see here it caused a huge problem. So what we need to do is we have to tell this, we need to position it relatively and give it the a z-index of a number larger than everything else, and everything else on the page should have a z-index of 1. So we're going to come in, we're going to just grab a hold of this code. Let's just grab a hold of this. And we will put this in the middle because it's the center one. And then we will go back out and we will find what we have here, call center 115. We will copy that. And we'll put that in there. And then let's see what we got. Okay, so we have our 3 columns. The 2 on either side are pulled in under the center column. And let's just show here, I just kind of put in a little bit of text here just to kind of make that pop out a little bit. So let's just look at what I did there. I just did a background of this red color, and then in the advanced settings, let's see, I put some padding around it. I made a border radius of 20 pixels, and I had a border on the bottom solid of 3 pixels, and I did another drop shadow around that of 40% drop shadow. So that's it for getting the columns lined up and just what I did there. Now here becomes the tricky bit, and this is nothing I would expect anyone to really know. It's kind of a new CSS 3, I'm pretty sure is when they came out with this. But what it is, and I'll just show you the code right in here. We have to scroll down. It's we're using what are known as pseudo elements. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating a new element on the page. So inside of ClickFunnels, you already have what the design is. You already have all the elements, all the divs in there. And essentially what we're doing is saying, create this little element and put it either before or after an existing div. So right here we have our columns, we have the center column, as you can see right here. And so we're saying that create one element before the center column and create another element after them. And then down here what it does is it tells it how it wants it to be displayed. So for the one after, which is actually the one up on top, that is the after element, we will come back into our CSS. And what we're saying with that after element is we want it to be 20 pixels tall and 100% width of this column. So just like everything else is 100% width in there, it's 100% width. It's 20 pixels high, and we want to float it from the left edge, we want to move it over 10 pixels, and from the top, we want to move it up 40 pixels. So that's what gets it in the position where it's at, because if we didn't have that, this thing would be over here and then down a ways. So we had to tell it to come up and over just to get it to line up properly with the top of the box. And then let's come back in and let's see what else we have in here. And then what we say is we want to translate it and skew it. So we want it to be 100% in the Y direction. So across the screen this way, we want it to be 100%. And then we want it to be skewed at a negative 45 degrees. And that's what that does, is that causes the ends on here to go over and flop over to 45 degrees. And so we got the same thing with the second element, with the before element. Same thing, we set a width on it, 100% on the height, and then again we set top and right instead of top and left. And then what I did is I threw a little box shadow on the gray on the side here just to give it a little bit more of a shadow and a little bit more of a depth around that edge. So that's it. Like I said, I don't really expect you to know how to use the pseudo elements. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not very good at them, but I usually can figure it out when I'm pressed to do it. But so here's all the code for it, and you can pretty much use it as is and be able to get it to line up properly on your funnel. So if you got any more questions, just feel free to reach out. Have a great day.